Dominic Solanke with 2 of the goals. Let's see if he can make any sense of what has happened. He's talking to Patrick.
Guys, well played. Absolutely crazy night, Dejan. 3-0 up, cruising. Fair to say it ended up being a little more nervy than perhaps it needed to.
Yeah, life, sometimes don't go straight, but the important thing is we win, we're through. Sunday we go again against a good team, so I'm very happy for the win.
Dom, relief?
Yeah, no, for sure. Obviously being 3-0 up, we could have dealt with the game better. Killed ourselves a bit at time, made it a bit hard for ourselves, but like Decky said, the most important thing was the win, through to the next round, so yeah, we're happy with that.
So just tell us, how does the psychology change? That 3-0, I guess, on the pitch, you feel really comfortable, and then all of a sudden, one mistake, obviously doesn't mean to do it, but it just, everything sort of flicks and flips.
Yeah, no, that's football sometimes, but we stick together. Mistakes are part of football. But we dig in. We showed spirit to make sure that we stayed in the game even when it was going through a difficult period. And like I said, we got the job done.
Dejan, we did an interview earlier in the week where you talked about how frustrating the inconsistency can be. It was sort of like both sides of Tottenham all in one match today, wasn't it?
Yeah, no, 3-0. We played very well, and there we have to keep going. Mistakes happen, but we can't do nothing about it now. We're happy. And like I said, we have an important game Sunday, so just forget about the mistakes and we win.
I tell you what though, Dom, you're starting to really like playing against Manchester United, aren't you? What is that, 5 in 4 now?
Yeah, something like that. Now obviously scoring against a team like United's great, but yeah, the most important thing was the win today and get to the semi-final, so yeah, we're delighted.
Yeah, and Dejan, you're in the form of your life, and it's another step towards a trophy. What would that mean?
Everything. That's why we work. That's why we want to win. And I think we got to keep going. We got to get better. Stay hungry. Tomorrow recovery, and we're gonna win.
We'll play to both of you. Dejan, you are the Carabao Cup Player of the Match. A smiling Dom Solanke is going to hand it over.
My boy.
Thank you very much.
There you go.
Thank you, guys.
Well done, guys.
Thank you.
Well done.
I think Dominic Solanke's the guy scored 2. Have I not ended up with that?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, looking at it, but I must say about Solanke, I wasn't sure about the move when he came here. Not for him. I was wondering, would it be too big for him? He'd been at Chelsea as a young boy, did really well at youth levels and international level, went to Liverpool, found it tough, which was understandable with the the front three Liverpool had at the time. But he didn't make any sort of impact at all, even from the bench or the odd little game here for Liverpool. Went to Bournemouth, did well, and I looked at that and I thought, I'm not sure. But I think he's got 9 goals already this season. But it's not just about the goals. His hold-up plays, little touches around the corner, his pressing. And I think that was a big night for him tonight. He's coming up against Manchester United. I know he's got a great record against them, but to me, that he looks like a top centre-forward now. And I made up for him because the type of lad you look at him, you think,
nice lad, yeah.
Is he going to have the personality and the character? It wasn't so much the ability. Is he maybe a bit shy? But I think that was a really big night for him.
And he had a slightly slow start, didn't he? The first 2 or 3 games, he wasn't up and running, so he needed that first goal.
And that's when I was watching him thinking, and sometimes we say things in this job, and you don't want to be proven right on something like that, because you look and you think, I hope that lad does well, because you worry if it might be a little bit too much for him. Made a bit of a slow start, but he's up and running now.
Speaking of slow starts, Manchester United made a slow start to that second half. Dejan Kulusevski winning player of the match, and he got the second.
Yeah, important start because you just felt. I mean, it almost feels such a long time ago.
Can you remember it?
But it was obviously it felt at the time like an important goal, and then 3-0 obviously felt important. But they started really well. They obviously had to make a change. Johnny Evans coming to centre back position. We saw Martinez do something very similar to this, probably worse actually last year, in the same end at the start of last season in a Premier League game. It's really poor defending. Carrie, you wanted to talk about
young Euro there, you've got to go with the overlap. That's one of the things about playing in the back 5. You can't get done in a situation like that. But with a young defender, they're going to make mistakes. It's going to happen. You have to stick with them. But
this is poor from Martinez. He had a really bad second half. You've got to do, whatever happens, you just can't just wave your left foot. You've got to do something. Last year he did something very similar where he right foot and he's put it into his. Sometimes that can affect you. What you've done before. And he seems to have real problems in that end for sure. But a good finish by Kulusevski. Maddison was, and at this stage, Tottenham are in the ascendancy. They've got their tails up. The fullbacks are coming forward. And you go, what a joy they are to watch. Then they go 3-0, and you're thinking, now we can calm. This is going to be calm for the next while. Will Spurs fans can sit there enjoying the game, but it never happens. It just doesn't happen when you watch this Tottenham side.
And this highlights, Jamie, doesn't it? What you were saying, he has a bit of everything. does Solanke for
I
this
love
top?
Yeah, this is a lad in confidence now. I can take 2 defenders on. I'm going to put my foot right through it. You know, making the run, we'll know he'll make that run in behind. And we see Martinez was asking for actually offside. We know there's no VAR, but he wasn't offside. Martinez was playing him on. But I just love this now. He bided his time to get his shot away at the right time. And again, that comes back to the confidence he's shown. Sometimes a player with no confidence might snatch it early on his left foot. He's up against Manchester United defenders. It's like, I'm in charge. I'm in control of the situation. I was delighted for him.
Yeah, you're right. He's always had the attributes. He's always, even at Chelsea as a young kid, I remember watching him in the youth team there. They were talking about him as going all the way and having a great career at Chelsea. Obviously, it didn't work out. Went to Liverpool in the end. Didn't quite work out. And that's the feeling, like Jamie says, can he handle the pressure of a big club like coming here? And he has been fantastic. And he's got that pace and power that's so hard to live with.
Just on the United back three, yeah, and you mentioned Euro there. So obviously he's learning his trade and playing in a back three and playing on the right. Lindelof goes off injured. Evans comes on. He's making a lot of changes in his back three. Eventually, that needs to settle, doesn't it? Otherwise, you're going to get errors. Yeah,
and when you mention a young centre-back, it's an unforgiving position like goalkeeper. We know that. So you look at young Euro, doesn't really follow in on the first goal. The overlap on the second goal, that's something he should read and something he should see. I think a little bit of a worry for Manchester United fans would be Martinez, because I was critical of him when he first came, because I didn't think he'd be able to play in a back four, that would be too small. But he had a really good first season. Now, in some ways, you think he's actually perfectly suited to a back three. You know, he can step out with the left foot. He's got 2 bigger players alongside him. And even though he played a great ball through, didn't he, for the winner in the Manchester derby, I don't think he's looked as comfortable since Amorim came in, when I actually thought, oh, this would be almost like the making of him, this will really suit him. So that's a little bit of a worry, because as Jamie just rightly said, he had a really poor night tonight.
Fraser Forster made a really good save about a minute before the ceiling caved in.
There's no doubt Fraser has made really good saves. Since Vicario has been injured, he has made a lot of these saves. And what they've done in other games, and I remember saying before the Chelsea game, I said it's really important today that what Tottenham Hotspur don't do is try to play out from the back. And he is a goalkeeper that is very good with his hand. With his feet, less so. So do not put pressure on him. Do not ask these kind of questions, because you're winning 3-0. Just get that ball up the pitch, clip it up to Solanke, work on the second balls, because that is so bad. But it's just not his strengths. What he's got to do there is, even if he plays it with his right foot, why they're doing it, I have no idea. This is not his strengths. Do not play that ball to him. Archie, I think, has got to do, just don't give it to him in the first place. But then he plays that ball blind. Fernandes obviously presses, because it's not what you call a hot press either, is it, Carragher?
No, I mean, this frustrates me. I mean, OK, the lad's made a mistake. Don't give somebody the ball. It's basic stuff that you'd know when you were a kid. So I know it's Archie Gray, but Basuma shouldn't be giving him the ball in the first place. Play forward. It doesn't mean long ball, but play forward with quality. You're giving a lad a ball again. And listen, it's awful by the goalkeeper. I mean, even if he's not great with his feet, he should still be able to deal with that. But when you're playing a game of football and someone's made a mistake, and he's made plenty as well over the 18 months he's been here, so I don't know if he's having a go at the goalkeeper or the fact they've given the ball back. But this goes back to my criticism of Tottenham under the manager after the Chelsea game. They never change how they play, no matter what the game state is. Now, I don't think football should be played the same all up from minute 1 to minute 90. And I'm just repeating myself. You know, when it's gone 3-1 and the stadium know, and you know what you've been through this season in terms of having leads, you don't give the ball back to a goalkeeper and make him nervous. Now, he makes another poor mistake, but it goes back to, I think, Ange Postecoglou tells them, no matter if it's in the first minute, the 90 minute, whether we're winning, whether we're losing or we're drawing, we play the same way. And that, for me, I can't have that.
I think he's absolutely spot on. And I actually think about that one, and I think of Basuma. Because then you've got to take the steam out of the situation.
Because he was on the ball for the free kick.
Right. There's a thing now, and it's not just in Premier League. I see it in academy football, where for some reason you pass the ball back to make the pitch big. Now, the goal's that way. Why are you even doing that? Why are you putting yourself under pressure? The crowd are already edgy. They've seen them. They were 2-0 up against Brighton and lost 3-2. They were 2-0 up against Chelsea, lose, was it 4-2 in the end? Why are you even doing that? So I would say to Yves Bissouma, that's almost a bit of ill discipline. And tonight I thought he was very good. And he can at times play on the edge. But just by doing that, you are just say, let's all calm down and just put the ball up the other end of the pitch.
But what you're talking about, Jamie, in terms of academies, I think you're right. But what we've created now is robots on the pitch, where I'm actually looking down and thinking, OK, I put myself in, what would I do if I was playing? Now, I wasn't a great player in terms of technically or physically, but I understood the game. And some of the things that went on that pitch, I wouldn't have allowed to happen if I was in a Tottenham shit. Now, what you've got is you've got a manager on the side of the pitch. It's his style of management. There's different ways of doing it. He doesn't give any instruction on. So I'm thinking, the manager's told you've got a certain way of playing that you've worked on since he come in. But someone has to get hold of that game and say, we're doing something different. Not be looking for instruction and not keep doing the same thing that the manager's told you to do. You have to say, no, we are changing for the next 5 or 10 minutes.
Just before we get on to the next bit of analysis, just let me ask you about that, because there was a couple of times in that second half, and the balls after they've gone either 3-1 or 3-2, and Fraser Forster has the ball, and half the team have come as if he's going to play it short, but they're sort of pointing for him to go long. But if he'd gone long, Solanke was isolated on his own. So is that what you're talking about? Because you get into your position, but then don't really understand the position.
No leadership on the pitch. So someone has to make a decision then, right? We either okay, we might be playing from the back, but you can't be one or the other. So then you end up knocking it long, and your team is like that. When basically for the next 10 or 15 minutes, your team needs to be like that, as compact as it possibly can be. The confidence has gone a little bit, so maybe the football won't be there. But you know what? We're going to be tough to play against for these next 10 or 15 minutes. We'll get through it. We'll build a little bit of confidence. We get the crowd back on side, and then we might start playing a little bit of football. And by the way, what I'm saying, it is not rocket science. This is something I was getting taught when I was 5 or 6 years of age. It's a game of football. It frustrates me watching. It's not just Tottenham, but especially Tottenham this season, how players don't understand how a game changes and how you have to alter the way you play to suit it.
And the other factor in all that is it's not just the goalkeeper, because he was also under a lot of pressure. You take the pressure, but there has to come a time when you go, OK, to Porro or to Jed Spence, actually, let's just stay calm here. We don't need you coming into areas. Let's just keep us at a nice back four, because we are in a really nice position, but this game can really quickly turn on us. And I don't understand why the manager who stood by Porro doesn't say to him, just stay where you are. We will get chances as this game goes on. They were just committing football suicide.
Especially when Porro's on his side.
Absolutely.
In the
No, I
second
get
half.
you. That's your coaching, and he said that's how we play. I totally get that, but there has to come a time when you use your football intelligence and you don't make these kinds of mistakes.
I mean, they go man to man. That's how they press, which is fine.
But look at Garnacho, Jamie.
But that was a problem in the first half, and I said it'll be interesting to see if there's a plan. I mean, that is unbelievable. Unbelievable, the situation you find themselves in.
Or 3-2, I think this was.
Yeah.
This is at 3-2.
Yeah.
You know, and then this is where he makes a save. No, he does not one with his legs. This is Mazraoui could score. But it was just like, it was chaotic. And it's great for us to watch, and I'm sure football fans all around the country are loving it. But you're not going to have success if you carry on like this. You know, Son gets caught in his own... You know, that's difficult because he just gets under his feet. This is a save with his legs. It's just...
I actually think that is brilliant goalkeeping, you know, because that ball comes at him so quickly, and he's a big man. He can't get his hands down, and it's so central. It's not to the side of him. So I thought he'd actually dealt with that brilliantly.
It's brilliant, though.
Brilliant.
I mean, just in the chaos of that 10 minutes, it fitted in perfect. I mean, it is a brilliant save, as you say.
No, honestly,
but it just fits into it.
Listen, we all burst out laughing, and I think Gary was laughing on commentary. But listen, I don't know what the goalkeeping coaches out there would say, but he's such a big man. There's no way he could have got his hand down that quickly. So I think he actually dealt with it really well.
And especially because of the other two.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, Manchester United had their own goalkeeping issues, really, in this game. Do you see anything wrong with Tottenham's
Yeah, well, we disagree with it a little bit in here. Jamie, I think nowadays, with keepers now protected they are, I think Bergvall just gets his arm. It's not the arm that he's going to punch you, but I just think it doesn't really matter. I just think he fouls him, he impedes him. You can just see him here. He gets his right arm. Bergvall just pulls him down a bit. It's not a great deal, but yeah, this is a better angle to see it now.
I think he's actually going for... I don't think he's trying to impede him. I think he's actually trying to just go and head the ball. His arm's come up a little bit. If it had been the arm that he was punching with, I'd maybe have a lot more sympathy with him. But, I mean, I wouldn't be happy if I mean, Has there been a worse performance from two goalkeepers in the same game ever? I mean, they were both really poor.
And this is Fraser Forster's
really?
understandable.
I will say, Fraser, with his feet, he's had but he's made some great saves in this period. There's been other games when he's been brilliant, and it's not been easy for him. You know, and he'll be feeling like on the floor. But Spurs have to just, stop putting him in this situation.
But that's the whole point that you're saying. Just adapt to your goalkeeper's
But he's never been known for that, being good with his feet. You know,
that's never going to happen.
But they've got Liverpool Liverpool will be watching at the weekend, and if they start playing out from the back like that, you can imagine Salah or Jota or whoever's playing up front, they'll be just waiting to pounce on that.
Well, it has provided us with a very, very entertaining evening here at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Let's see what Ange Postecoglou makes of it all. He's with Patrick.
Well, Ange, you said yesterday it's the hardest job in the world. Did we see tonight why it's so stressful?
Yeah, look, it was. Obviously, we made it harder than it should have been, for sure. Role in control and played really well. You know, we looked like we were going to manage the game, and then obviously 2 moments of unfortunate. I mean, I think the first one kind of affected Fraser for a little bit, and then the second one sort of came as a result of that. So, and then we had to scramble a little bit. You know, showed some character at the end. Got a fourth and through the semi.
What did you like about the early part of the match, and probably actually the start of the second half mostly, where you completely took control of the game?
I like the whole bit, mate. Are you not entertained?
We are very entertained.
Well, there you go. What do you want? Do you want a scrambling 1-0? I know the studio's probably going in a meltdown over my lack of tactics, but you know what? I love the fact that we go out there and just take it to oppositions. Even the fact that we've got you know, so many absences at the moment. Goalkeeper, both centre halves, left backs. You know, got kids on the bench, and yet, you know, these boys are maintaining their principles about trying to play the football we want to be. And I think if we get through this period, and you know, I just think we're going to get enormous growth out of it. I really like the way we played tonight. I mean, obviously, you know, those 2 moments kind of taint the sort of overall, and it's something that's happened this year before, and obviously. It doesn't help us in sort of gaining traction in terms of our consistency, but in terms of the mentality of the boys, mate, I love it.
You're right about the studio meltdown, by the way. but part of it is, on a sort of the nice thing that's being said, is you're the most entertaining team in the league. Does that mean a lot to you?
Well, yeah, it does to me, yeah, because I love football and I love watching teams that go out there and entertain. Now, obviously, we want to be successful as well, and we won't be if we, you know, make things difficult for ourselves like we did tonight. But you balance that up with the situation we're in right now. 10 first-team players out. I keep saying it, and you know, I don't think it's registered with people, but that's okay. And we're not going out there and trying to grind out 1-0 victories. We're keeping all your folks entertained. We're creating plenty of discussion, and I can't see how that's a bad thing.
It's definitely not a bad thing. But from your point of view, you would have liked your team surely to manage it differently from 3-0. After 3-1, is there anything you do different? Would you ever say to your team, look, go direct, sit in a block for a bit, don't put Fraser under pressure with another pass back?
But, I mean, you know, you're sort of suggesting that I ask the players to kind of, you know, in those moments make those mistakes, and I don't. And you know, we had solutions out there where we didn't have to do that. That's you know, that's part of football. You know, you know, individuals will at times make those mistakes, but from the context of how we want to play as a team, no, there's nothing we need to change. You know, I'll be very happy if we keep scoring 4 goals and 5 goals a game if we're winning. Obviously, we want to win. We don't want to not be winning, but you know, for me, that's it's still the most important thing, and I get it. You know, it doesn't get me any credit in the bank as a astute tactician, but so be it.
Yeah, but I mean, well, I guess your quibble would be with your players. Would you like them to manage that better by having more conviction in what you ask them to do? Do the same things, but do them better?
Yeah, of course. But, you know, you're asking for perfection in human beings, and that doesn't exist. You know, they're going to stuff up every now and then, like I do, and I'm sure you do, Pat.
Every now and again.
Yeah, every now and again. So, you know, look, don't get me wrong, we're disappointed because we had the game in total control, and no one's more disappointed than Fraser is, because he knows in those moments he could have handled it a lot better. But for me to just focus on that and discount the football we're still playing with the players, who are 18-year-olds, guys who haven't played for quite a while, guys in their first year of the Premier League, that's still the bit I kind of focus on.
But when you're talking about as well being questioned as an astute tactician or otherwise, you will go through that with your players, presumably, the whole thing, but the last 20 minutes, half an hour in and amongst that.
Yeah, of course, we review everything, but you don't, you look at it, what solutions there were out there, could we have made better decisions, for sure. But that's not going to eliminate human error in there either. That's part of, it's part of football, it's part of life. So, like I said, there'll be, depending on how you want to look at a game of football, there'll be guys who'll be focusing on those two mistakes, and others will be going, it's not a bad side.
Quarter-final of the Cup, Manchester United knocked out under lights in front of a full Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Not so bad.
I don't think so, mate. No.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ange. Cheers.
Well, I suppose if you two are focusing on the mistakes, I have to go, it's not a bad side, really.
I thought...
When he's like that, there's a twinkle in his eye, and he's happy, and he's funny, and he's absolute gold when he's like that.
You know what? That was a brilliant interview.
Wasn't it?
And we should all be desperate for Tottenham to win more games, because they are, I said at the start of the show, the most entertaining team in the country. He comes across brilliantly from day one in terms of his interviews. His interview there just sums up how his team are and what we're probably critical of. And what I think he got asked about being a tactician. He just said, so be it, mate, or, whatever. But that interview was brilliant. We were laughing all the way through it, enjoying it. Yeah, we enjoyed that. But
we did.
It was a brilliant game. But he's never going to change. And we want to see more of that, if you like, in terms of being entertained by Tottenham. But I'd still think if you're a Tottenham supporter, you'd be going home thinking, can we win something like that, or can we will be entertained?
But do you think, if you're a Tottenham supporter going, and I don't know what it is here, 100 quid, 110 quid, I don't know, for a seat, I have no idea what the price are. But if you've paid 100 quid for a seat here, and you've gone home having beaten Manchester United 4-3 as opposed to 1-0, you've got an extra I think you've got an extra...